She walked through the center of the dusty town with her head low. An old shawl clung to her shoulders as dry wind stirred it. Boots scraped, and voices rose around her. "There she goes again," a woman said. "Still wearing that rag." "She thinks a shawl can hide her shame," a man replied. "Look at her hands," another voice said. "All bones and dirt." She kept walking, eyes on the ground. "Say something, girl," a young boy mocked. "Smile for us." "She won't smile," a second boy laughed. "Broken things don't smile." At the store door, the shopkeeper's wife stepped out. "You still wondering, are you?" she called. "No one needs what you sell. No one needs you." "I only need water," she said softly. "Water is for paying customers," the woman snapped. "Not for burdens." A bucket slipped from her shaking hands and fell into the dirt. Water spread like dark fingers across the ground. "There it goes," a man shouted. "Even a bucket rejects her." Laughter cracked over the street. "She was trouble from birth," another voice said. "Just like her mother." "She brings bad luck," a woman added. "Look at the sky when she walks by." The sheriff leaned against a post, eyes low. "Sheriff, are you going to stop this?" a quiet voice asked. "There is nothing to stop," he muttered. "Just a girl passing through." "She is more than that," someone argued. "She is less," came the reply. Her shoulders trembled, but she bent slowly and picked up the bucket. "Careful," a man teased. "Wouldn't want her to fall apart." She straightened, dirt on her skirt, lips pressed tight. "Why do you keep coming back here?" a woman called. "Does pain feel like home?" "She has nowhere else," another said. "Then nowhere should take her," the first voice answered. At the edge of the road, a horse shifted. A quiet woodcutter sat in the saddle, eyes fixed on the crowd. "Who is that?" someone whispered. "Just a poor woodcutter," answered another. "Silent as a stump." "He is staring," a woman murmured. "It is unsettling." He said nothing. "Why is he watching her?" a man questioned. "Maybe he likes broken things too," came a sharp laugh. He slid from the horse and tied the reins. "What business is it of yours?" one of the young men called out. "Got something to say, woodcutter?" The woodcutter did not answer. "Speak up," the man pushed. "Or go back to your trees." His boots pressed into the dust as he took a slow step forward. "She has done nothing," he said at last, voice low but clear. A hush drifted over the road. "Nothing?" the shopkeeper's wife scoffed. "Her whole life is nothing." "Then let nothing pass in peace," he replied. She looked up for the first time and saw him. Confusion softened her eyes. "You don't know her," the sheriff warned. "She does not need knowing to be treated right," he said. "She is a burden," a man spat. "Then carry that word yourself," the woodcutter answered. "She will not carry it for you." The crowd shifted, uneasy now. "Since when do strangers make the rules?" someone muttered. "Since cruelty forgot the law," he replied. Silence settled. Only wind moved through the street. She held the bucket tighter. "You should not stand there for her," the sheriff said. "People will speak." "Let them speak," he replied. "And when they turn on you?" the sheriff asked. "Then they will meet their own voices," he said. A ranch hand at the far end of the road whispered, "He is not afraid." "No," another murmured. "He is choosing." Dust swirled around their boots. "She is still standing," a child whispered. "Yes," the child's mother said, "because someone finally told the world to hush." The woodcutter took step forward. She left town before the sun touched the flats. Dust clung to her skirt as the road opened ahead, pale and empty under a wide sky. Each step pulled at her legs, each breath felt thin. Echoes followed her, every cruel word stacked on the last. Her shoulders curled in, and tears slid down her cheeks. She brushed them away, quick and silent, the way she always had. "She won't last a mile," one voice seemed to whisper in memory. "She walks like a ghost," another followed. "She is nothing," the last one lingered. A soft hoofbeat broke the quiet behind her. She froze. Wind stirred the dry grass. The sound came closer, slow and careful. "Don't be afraid," a low voice said from behind. "The road is empty, but it is not kind." She turned. The quiet woodcutter sat on his horse, keeping distance. "You should not follow," she said. "People will see." "They already did," he replied. "And they chose wrong." She stepped back. "This is not your concern." "It is if the road breaks you," he said. "It will not," she answered, though her legs trembled. "It has already tried," he said gently. She sighed, eyes dropping. He reached into a pouch and pulled out a small canteen. "Water," he said. "Nothing more." "I do not have coin," she whispered. He held it out farther. "It is not for sale." She hesitated, eyes searching for a trick. The horse shifted but stayed calm. "Why help?" she asked. "Because silence does not mean indifference," he replied. She took the canteen, hands shaking, and drank. The water cooled her throat. "You could ride," he added. "The sun is cruel today." "I cannot," she said. "People would talk." "They already do," he said again. She handed back the canteen. "Where are you riding?" "Nowhere important," he said. "Only beside you for a while." "I do not want company," she answered. "Then speak less," he said. "Walk more." A faint breath of a smile touched her lips, then faded. "Are you always so quiet?" she asked. "Only when noise has nothing good to offer," he replied. They moved along the long road. Dry fields rolled on either side. A crow called out, then flew away. "You should have stayed," he said after a moment. "There was nothing there for staying," she replied. "There are worse ways to leave," he said. "I found the quietest," she murmured. He watched her steps. They were slow but steady. "Your feet are bleeding," he said. "They have done worse," she answered. "Pain should not be a companion," he said. "It has been the only one who did not leave," she replied. He guided the horse closer and leaned down. "Even companions can be replaced." "By what?" she asked. "By rest. By kindness. By time," he said. She shook her head. "Those things do not exist for someone like her." "They do when someone chooses them," he said. A breeze lifted the edge of her shawl. "You should not use words like that," she said. "Why not?" he asked. "Because they grow hope," she replied. "Hope grows whether words allow it or not," he said. She slowed, then stopped. The road stretched ahead, empty again. "Where will you sleep tonight?" he asked. She swallowed, eyes drifting toward the fading light. "There is no answer for that," she said. He studied her face, the fear and the stubborn strength. "Then there is a question that must be answered soon," he said. The sun lowered on the horizon as the road darkened before them. Marrow Creek looked smaller than memory had promised and larger than fear had warned. The town squatted at the base of a pale ridge, a huddle of timber and stone pressed flat by sun and wind. She watched it from the hill a moment longer, gathering the last of her breath before descent. The horse shifted beneath the saddle, as if sensing the weight of decisions to come. The bank stood at the center like a sore tooth, brick, boastful, and new. Its windows flashed against the light, blind and bright. He would be inside, whoever had signed his name so neatly beneath the word foreclosure. The thought pulled warmth and winter into the same place inside her chest. She pressed heels to flanks and rode in. Eyes followed her down the street. A blacksmith paused mid-hammer. A shopkeeper froze with a bolt of cloth in his hands. They had learned how to watch trouble without inviting it, and she respected that. The hitching post creaked when the horse was secured. The front doors of the bank whispered open, cool air settling against her boots. Inside, the counters were polished, the floors scrubbed bare of dust. Order reigned. It always did where coins held more weight than calloused hands. A clerk looked up, surprise skittering across his face before manners reclaimed it. "Business hours are near done, miss." "They will stretch," she answered quietly. Footsteps sounded behind a closed door. He appeared in that frame, tall as tall could be in a place that bent backs. Dark waistcoat, pale sleeves. A man designed for ink instead of earth. He did not smile, but something close hovered there, curious. "So," he said. "The one who refuses to leave." She held his gaze. "The land refuses to leave her." A pause, thin as thread, but strong. He gestured toward his office. She stepped inside, not breaking the line of his eyes. On the desk lay her future reduced to paper, maps, signatures, stamps. He touched none of it, only watched her, expression unreadable, interest sharpening like a blade. "Convince me," he said at last. "Not with stories. With terms." Outside, the town listened. Inside, the dust of 100 summers settled. And she began to speak. Days passed in a slow, steady line across the ranch. Chickens clucked near the fence as she scattered grain, and dust lifted with every quiet step across the yard. The porch creaked beneath the broom, and the sky stayed wide and pale, holding the same soft blue each morning. She learned where the light settled first and where the shadows lingered last. The barn door sighed when it opened, and the scent of hay stayed warm in the air. "You kept them well," he said when he came from the trees with his axe resting on his shoulder. They eat easy, she replied, brushing dirt from her palms. They mind careful hands. They mind routine. He nodded. That, too. Later, when her fingers reddened and split against the handles of the tools, a folded cloth appeared beside the pail. He did not speak at first. You did not ask for help, he said quietly. She did not wish to be a bother, she answered. He looked at the cloth. Use it anyway. The wind crossed the field, stirring the tall grass. Her hands trembled as she wrapped the fabric around her palm. Thank you, she whispered. It is only cloth, he said. It is more than that. In town, their names moved through mouths like dust through cracks in a wall. They whispered while she walked the boardwalk, their tones sharp as thorns, low and unkind. She has tricked him. She is broken goods. A woman like that ruins men. The shopkeeper lifted his chin. There is no fabric today. There is fabric behind the counter, she said. It is not for her. A woman turned away. Another stepped aside. Boots thumped, skirts brushed past, and no one held her gaze. She should not be here. She will bring trouble. The words sank into her shoulders, bending them. By the time she left, the sky had dulled, and her breath felt thin inside her chest. Dust clung to her hem as though it wished to hold her there. Back at the ranch, she moved without sound. A sack rested near the door. The horse waited at the rail. She tied it slow, careful not to draw notice, careful not to hear her own thoughts. She will only make his life harder, she murmured to the animal. A footstep answered. Then why does she tremble as she leaves? He asked. She froze at the gate, fingers tight around the rope. He deserves peace, she said, still facing the fields. He deserves truth. Truth is that people will not stop talking. They have never stopped talking. They speak sharper now. They do not live here. They can still reach him. They cannot reach what he does not give them. Silence hung long between them. The horse stamped once, restless. He has given enough already, she said. He has given what he chooses. She brings only rumors. He sees only effort. She sees danger. He sees a wounded heart trying to walk away. Her fingers slipped from the reins, opening slowly in the fading light. They broke something that cannot be mended, she said. Running will not heal what they broke, he replied, voice steady as the trunk of an old tree. They will never forget what she was. He is not asking them. What is he asking? He is asking her to stay. The gate creaked softly as a breeze moved through the cottonwoods, carrying the scent of river and grass. Her shoulders eased, just a little. He is asking her to trust him. Trust is not simple, she said. He knows, he answered. It has been used like a chain. He will use it like an open hand. She turned, meeting his steady eyes across the posts of the gate. They will laugh at him. He has weathered worse than laughter. They will wait for her to fail. Then he will stand where the ground is firm, he said, placing a hand against the wood. And he will wait with her. Thunder rolled across the plains, heavy and low, and the windows rattled in their frames. Rain struck the roof in hard sheets, and the wind pressed against the walls like a living thing. She sat near the hearth, knees drawn in, arms wrapped tight, breath short as each crack of the sky pulled old shadows from her mind. The room dimmed, swallowed by the storm. He stepped in from the doorway and set a lantern on the floor between them. Its flame wavered once, then steadied, casting a warm circle that pushed the darkness back. The ground turns cruel when it is soaked, he said. A pair of worn boots lay at her feet. Place them on, he added. They are not hers. They are needed tonight. She hesitated, then slid her feet inside, the leather holding the last of his warmth. Thank you, she murmured. He sat a safe distance away, hands resting loosely on his knees. Listen to the light, not the thunder, he said. It is hard to choose, she whispered. It is still a choice. The storm cracked again, closer now. Her shoulders flinched. These sounds, she said, they return her to old rooms. What waits in those rooms? He asked gently. Cold floors. Who stands there with her? Only fear. Then let another stand with her now. Silence trembled between them, broken only by the rain. Words slipped from her in uneven fragments. There were nights when doors were locked. Voices spoke names they should not speak. They said she was worth less than dust. They said she would never be clean of what was done. He did not move. He did not look away. They said no kind hand would ever rest on her shoulder. They said any man who looked at her would leave with shame. They lied, he said simply. They said it for years. Years do not make a lie true. They taught her to bow her head. He would lift it if he could touch it without startling her. She learned to disappear. He sees her sitting here. She learned to endure without a sound. He hears every one of them now. The thunder rolled farther off, tired at last, as if it had spent its anger. She does not know how to be anything else, she said. She does not need to be anything else tonight, he replied. Darkness thinned at the edges of the room. The lantern held steady. Her breathing slowed. The stiffness in her hands softened, finger by finger. This silence is different, she said quietly. It is meant to be. It does not hurt. It will not. Outside, rain softened to a whisper on the earth, and the wind slid away across the fields. Yet in town, another voice had risen with sharper intent. He is hiding something, a cruel man said near the sheriff's ear. There is dirt upon that land, another added. There is a woman there who does not belong. The sheriff listened, eyes narrowed. I will see for myself, he said. A saddle creaked as it was lifted. A badge caught the lantern light on a tavern wall. Back at the ranch, she rose slowly, the boots still heavy on her feet. He has given her peace for a moment, she said. And he will guard the next one, he answered. Beyond the ridge, a new sound broke the quiet. Hoofbeats struck the ground in steady rhythm, growing louder, cutting through the damp night air. The earth itself seemed to listen as they drew near. The lantern trembled as a draft slipped beneath the door, and he stood, moving to close the latch. She watched his shadow stretch across the floorboards, long and steady. They are coming, she said. Let them come, he replied, for this ground will speak for itself before any man does. The night held its breath, waiting for the first figure to break the edge of the field. In the dark. Dust hung at the gate as hooves halted nearby tonight. Sheriff swung down and faced them with narrowed eyes cold. Two townsmen followed, boots heavy with doubt and hunger showing. She stood inside the doorway trembling beneath the weak lantern. He stepped ahead of her and lifted calm, steady hands. State your business here before darkness deepens further, he said. We seek the woman hiding on this land, they replied. She has broken no law that you may name tonight. Sheriff scoffed and glanced past him toward her shadow waiting. Hand her over and matters may pass easier, they pressed. He did not move as rain whispered on distant boards. Easy paths cost more than truth ever demands, he answered. She swallowed and felt old chains stir around her heart. She works here with honest hands and steady will daily. What proof stands beside such stranger talk tonight, they mocked. A ranch hand stepped forward and met their eyes firm. He has seen her labor before dawn and dusk often. Another man joined him, lending weight to silent truth shared. She harmed none and carries only quiet honor here. Wind brushed the fence as tension tightened around them all. Sheriff shifted uneasily, catching resolve burning behind calm eyes now. Respect is owed where respect is given plainly, he said. They traded glances, finding no sudden weakness to seize upon. Even the shepherd child watched from afar, whispers caught gently. Her presence harms no soul and stirs no crime here. Silence fell heavy like dust settling after hard winds pass. Sheriff lowered his chin and took backward cautious steps away. This matter will yet find daylight beyond these fields soon. For now they retreat beneath uncertain sky and colder thoughts. The townsman frowned but turned with restrained anger held tightly. She watched their backs until distance softened sharp fear inside. They will return with louder voices tomorrow perhaps, she whispered. Then they will meet the same truth again, he replied. He rested a reassuring hand near her shoulder, gently waiting. Is safety truly allowed for one like her, she asked. Safety grows wherever courage stands and hearts defend it together. The lantern flickered yet kept its small circle bright tonight. Outside clouds drifted apart, revealing patient distant stars above them. Those lights have witnessed worse and still remain, he murmured. She drew a longer breath, feeling grounded upon wooden planks. Strength can live even in broken places long unseen within. He watched understanding pass between them like quiet prayer rising. A distant howl marked the hills where night gathered slowly. Fear will test what has just grown here tonight soon. She nodded once, refusing to shrink beneath old commands now. The gate creaked softly as wind crossed waiting fields again. In town whispered plans twisted like smoke in lamplight brewing. They will search for faults none have named rightly here. Let them seek and face their reflection instead, he answered. A shared stillness settled over porch and earth alike then. She felt time slow as courage filled fragile places within. Gratitude is all she carries for this stand tonight always. That is more than enough for any honest man standing. The storm clouds emptied at last across silent distant valleys. Night air cooled, yet their hearts kept steady gentle warmth. Tomorrow may bring sharper words and colder looks, she said. Tomorrow will also bring rising sun upon this land again. An owl called once before retreating to darker rest unseen. She stepped back inside the room carrying new quiet strength. He remained watching fields as guardian through deepening shades outside. In his gaze lived warning and promise equally bound together. Let truth be ready when they test her openly soon. She rested her hand against warm timber, feeling steadied within. The world seemed momentarily just beneath, turning patient constellations above. Distant echoes of anger lingered, though presence weakened slowly away. They promised to expose what they cannot understand soon enough. Beyond the hills, quiet watched for the next bold step. She stood near the rail fence as the old pastor lowered his voice. That man you call a woodcutter, he said, once led riders through fire. He kept towns from falling. He chose quiet over praise. She tightened her shawl. Why would he hide that? She asked. Because peace is louder to him than honor, the pastor answered. Boots stirred the dust behind her. He never spoke of guns or glory, he added. She found him by the split logs. They say you were a leader, she said. He did not look up. They say many things. Were they right? Once. The axe paused. Now he cuts wood. He saved lives, she said. He is trying to save his own from noise, he replied. Silence stretched. Wind touched the grass. Did he ever regret leaving? She asked. He finally faced her. He left so regret would not grow. Her eyes softened. Does he regret meeting her? He shook his head. No words for that. A rider passed the ridge far away. The town is talking, she said. They bowed their heads. They can bow later, he said. She only asked for truth. He gives it now, he answered. He once held men together with a look. He prefers holding a shovel now. She does not see him as small, she whispered. He hopes she never will. He reached into his coat. He made something, he said, placing a small carved bird in her hands. The wings were rough, but the shape was true. It keeps flying even when the weather is cruel, he added. Her fingers closed around it. She will keep it close. He wants that. Footsteps crunched behind the gate. A ranch hand spoke. The square is filling. Another voice followed. They want to hear the truth. She looked toward the fading sun. She is afraid. He answered low. He will walk beside her. They mocked her once, a hand said. They will listen now. They must, he replied. Or they will answer to silence. She breathed in the dry air. Does he still carry the past? Only when others throw it at him. Does she carry hers? Not tonight. The bird rested against her heart. They are calling his name, the ranch hand said. Elias, the crowd echoed, distant but clear. He closed the gate. They will not call her broken again, he said. The square roared once, and the hills answered. They stepped onto the road. Dust curled around their boots. Stay close, he said. She is here, she replied. A child ran up. Is it true? The child asked. Truth walks slowly, he said. She has waited long enough, the child answered. At the edge of the square, voices tangled. Is she safe? A woman called. She is safer than lies, he said. Does the town know his name? Another man asked. They spoke it just now, the pastor replied, stepping forward. Then let them face him, the man said. A shopkeeper swallowed hard. They were cruel. Cruelty dries the ground, he said. Respect can bring rain. What does she want? The shopkeeper asked. She lifted her chin. She wants quiet to grow. Murmurs softened. A woman from the well stepped closer. Will they forgive her? There is nothing to forgive, he said. Only something to learn. The crowd moved like a tide. Speak, Elias, a young voice begged. He paused. He has said enough, she whispered, yet she did not pull away. The pastor raised his hand. A meeting will be held at sunrise. Will she stand before them? A man asked. She will not stand alone, he answered. Lanterns began to glow along the posts. The bird in her hand felt warm. They will hear her worth, he said. The night settled, waiting for morning. Far beyond the square, a line of figures gathered, watching. Hooves stamped in the dark. Someone whispered that the whole town would come. She closed her eyes, steady, as silence gathered strength. Morning would test every waiting heart. "Careful where it steps," he said, voice low and steady, as the mare's hooves sank into the black mud at the river's edge. "She'll pull you straight under if she loses her hold." "She won't," she answered, chin lifted, reins tight in her hands. "She knows ground better than most men." "That may be true," he replied. "But this ground changes by the hour." They stood there a moment, the stream swollen from last night's storm, water dragging branches and foam past their legs. The fading sun caught in the current in broken pieces, casting gold along the bend. He reached out without asking and steadied the mare's neck. The animal stilled at his touch, a long breath leaving her chest. "You're crossing alone?" he asked. "I've been alone before." That wasn't the question. She did not answer right away. The wind moved across the tall grass behind them, whispering like something listening. A crow cried from somewhere along the hills. Finally, she nodded. "Yes." He studied her then, not with pity but with a kind of careful weighing, as if she were a storm cloud deciding whether to break. His clothes were rough and worn, sleeves rolled to his forearms, a thin layer of sawdust caught in the fabric. Woodcutting had left its mark on him, in the lines of his hands and the quiet strength in his stance. "Name's Elias," he said at last. She looked up at him, surprised by the offering. "You don't give it freely," she said. "Not to most." "Then why now?" "Because you're standing where most wouldn't. And because some names are meant to be known at the right moment." He released the mare, stepping back onto firmer ground. "Cross now. Go slow. Let her choose her line, not you." She urged the mare forward, hooves testing stone and silt, each step measured. He watched as the current pushed and pulled, as water climbed high against her boots. Still she did not falter. The mare found purchase on the far bank and climbed free, water tearing away in long, silver sheets. When she turned, Elias was already walking away, his boots crunching along gravel. She called out, and he paused but did not face her. "Is there a trail beyond the ridge?" "There is." "Where does it lead?" "To a place nobody bothers to find. That's why it still stands." She watched him disappear into the trees, the dark swallowing his shape until only the sound of his steps remained. Curious unease crept through her, not fear, but a strange pull toward whatever lay where the trail ended. She followed. The ascent was steep, winding through broken rock and stubborn roots. Breath burned in her chest, but she kept going, driven by something she couldn't name. The forest thinned as she climbed, trees giving way to scrub and open sky. When she reached the crest, the world opened wide. A hidden valley stretched below, green and untouched, a narrow dirt road carving its way to a worn, steadfast ranch. A simple house, a leaning barn, fences bowed by time. Smoke curled lazily from the chimney. Elias stood at the edge of the ridge, hands resting on his hips, looking out over the land like a man guarding a secret. "You followed," he said, without surprise. "You told me where it stood." "I told you it existed." "There's a difference." "Yes," he said. "You chose which one to hear." She guided the mare forward until they stood beside him. The wind passed between them, carrying the scent of cedar and earth. "No one claimed this place," she said. "Many tried," Elias answered. "None stayed long enough to earn it." "And you?" "I stayed." Silence moved in, heavy but not unwelcome. "You looking for somewhere to disappear?" he asked, "or somewhere to begin again? Is there really a difference?" He glanced at her, the corner of his mouth tightening with a hint of something unspoken. "Depends on how long the past is willing to follow." Her gaze drifted across the ranch, over every open space, every quiet possibility. Then, far out beyond the far ridge, a thin line of dust lifted into the air. A rider. Too distant to see clearly. Too deliberate to be. "Morning came gentle," he said, leaning against the porch post, eyes lifted to the soft gold creeping over the hills. "She feels it," she answered, stepping out beside him. "Even the boards beneath her boots feel kinder. Place is learning her steps. Or she's learning its patience." He glanced at the simple dress she wore. "That one suits the light." "It's plain," she said. "Plain doesn't mean small." She folded the old shawl on the chair, fingers resting on the frayed edge. "Some things don't belong on the body anymore, only in memory. And some memories deserve rest." "They've finally grown quiet," she said. "No more knocking in the night." Wind moved lazily through the fence posts. A pair of children ran laughing through the grass, chasing one another in careless circles. "Careful by the ditch," he called. We won't fall, one shouted back. They sound like the land belongs to them already, she said. They sound like a future that trusts the ground. A woman from the neighboring ranch walked up the path, basket tucked against her hip. Brought bread, the woman said. Still warm. That's kindness talking, he replied. That's neighbors, the woman said with a nod. Hard to find, but worth keeping. She accepted the loaf. It will be shared. That's all the thanks needed. When the neighbor left, silence wrapped the porch again. He never thought this place would fill with voices, she said quietly. Loneliness is a stubborn tenant, he said. But joy knows how to knock it out. You didn't save her, she said. No, he replied. She walked herself here. And he walked beside her. Only because she let him. Her gaze followed a small patch of open earth by the fence. Today, she plants something that doesn't run. Something that stays. Something that lives longer than fear. He handed her the young sapling, roots wrapped in damp cloth. She ready for the weight of it. She's carried worse. They walked to the fence line where the ground lay open and waiting. Right here, she said. It can see the sunrise first. Then it will remember every dawn. She knelt, hands pressing into the soil. Dig deeper, he said gently. She knows, she replied, pushing further. The shovel met stone. Life always does that, he murmured. And still grows, she said. They worked the hole together, steady and slow. He held the tree upright while she guided the earth around it. Hold it straight, she said. It stands on its own, he answered. Just like she does. Yes, she said softly. Just like she does. They stepped back. The tree trembled in the breeze but did not bend. It looked small, he said. So did she, once. And now. Now she feels rooted. Children ran to it, touching the leaves. What's its name? One asked. She hasn't named it yet, he said. She thought for a long moment. It will earn its name in time. That's the best kind. A hawk passed overhead, wing cutting through the brightening sky. She never imagined a morning like this, she said. Nor did he replied. And yet here it stands. Peace has a way of arriving when no one is looking. She turned toward him. Will it stay? Only if she lets it. She plans to. Then he will stay too. No promise was spoken, yet it hung there stronger than words. The ranch breathed under the early sun, barn glowing, fence casting long shadows, dust lifting with every laughing footstep. She is no longer the outcast they named, he said. No, she answered. She is the woman the land recognizes. And the future respects. She looked once more at the sapling, its leaves catching the light. This is her beginning, she said. And her worth, he replied. Far in the distance, no dust rose now. No shadow approached. Only open sky. Only dawn. Only home.